The release of a Republican memo that alleges misconduct at the FBI and Department of Justice (DOJ) has thrown fresh gasoline on the firestorm over the Russia probe. Democrats and others skeptical of President Trump. Donald John Trump Schiff Nunes gave Trump's secretly altered version of memo. Davis deep state existed in 16, but it elected former Trump legal spokesman to testify to Mueller about undisclosed call report. More fear. A new push to oust Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Rod J. Rosenstein overnight cybersecurity GOP. FBI clash over FISA memo. Uber breach under Senate scrutiny. Upcoming House cyber diplomacy hearing. Trump asked Rosenstein about Russia probe if he was on Trump's team. Report. Nunes fires back at FBI for spurious objections to memo release. More. A Hinda special counsel Robert Mueller. Robert Swan Mueller says U.S. should applaud choice of Mueller to lead Russia probe. More. Mueller is investigating allegations of collusion between Russia and Trump's 2016 campaign, as well as the possibility of obstruction of justice. Rumors Trump will fire him and have been joined in recent days by speculation that Trump might also fire Rosenstein, or that FBI Director Christopher Wray could quit over the memo's release. Democratic strategist Robert Schromm condemned the memo as, obviously, a piece of political propaganda that omits significant facts, but he added, of Trump, I would not be surprised to see him fire the Deputy Attorney General, or try to fire Mueller. Republicans who are supportive of the president insist that the memo has provided clear evidence of political bias against him, even though some of them express qualms about how hard Trump should assert himself in the aftermath. What remains to be seen is, does the president let public outrage take its course or try to use this as a blunt force instrument against the ongoing investigation, mused one source close to the Republican Party. Meanwhile, Republicans skeptical of Trump have registered their disappointment at the remarkable spectacle that has played out in recent days. The White House overruled warnings from the FBI and DOJ to allow congressional Republicans to release the memo. In a Friday statement, Sen. John Sidney McCain had Trump didn't say in his State of the Union address Trump signs order to keep Gitmo open. Trump's pick for NY prosecutor scrutinized more errors. Hit Trump and his allies for looking at this investigation through the warped lens of politics and manufacturing partisan sideshows. McCain added, if we continue to undermine our own rule of law, we are doing Russian President Vladimir Putin's job for him. The FBI and the DOJ had both urged the White House to block publication of the memo. The FBI charged that it made material omissions of fact, while the DOJ suggested it would be extraordinarily reckless to release it. Where do things go from here? All eyes will, as so often, be on the president. Asked about the memo during a meeting with North Korean defectors in the Oval Office on Friday, Trump replied, it's terrible. You want to know the truth? I think it's a disgrace. When a reporter followed up by asking whether it made him more inclined to fire Rosenstein or whether he still had confidence in the Deputy Attorney General, Trump responded, you figure that one out. White House Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah denied on CNN's Erin Burnett Upfront Friday that there are plans to oust Rosenstein. There has been no change in the president's confidence in the Deputy Attorney General, Shah said. We continue to expect him to fulfill his job as Attorney General and don't expect any changes. Rosenstein is of pivotal importance in the Mueller probe, since he could limit the scope of the special counsel's inquiries and place other restrictions upon him. Rosenstein has those powers because Attorney General Jeff Beauregard Sessions is to prioritize new asylum applications over past filings. California considers state-run bank for pot businesses. Trump doesn't recognize foreign-born black and brown people as American. Moore recused himself from any role pertaining to the Russia probe 11 months ago, after it emerged that he had undisclosed contacts with the Russian ambassador to the United States during Trump's campaign. Speculation that Wray would resign in protest at the decision to release the memo has receded. In an internal message to Bureau employees Friday, Wray urged his staff to keep calm and tackle hard. Wray, a Trump appointee, following the firing of James Bryan Comey Davis, deep state existed in 16, but it elected Trump. WSJ agents' texts reveal McCabe knew of Clinton emails for at least a month. CNN FBI agent Strzok helped write letter reopening Clinton probe. More from that position in May 2017, also said, talk is cheap, the work you do is what will endure, but that was a rare calming statement amid a feverish atmosphere in Washington. The temperature of the rhetoric on both sides of the political divide, already hot, has been nearing a boiling point. Rep. Paul Gosar Paul Anthony Gossard I'm bringing Dreamer to SOTU. You'll have to break my bones before threatening my guest and lawmaker leaving seat vacant at SOTU to honor people wrongfully targeted for deportation. Got prep. Tears into colleagues, drastic and cruel, call for Dreamer's arrests at State of the Union. More Arizona, a conservative Republican, said in a statement Friday that the memo amounted to convincing evidence of treason on the part of the FBI. Former Rep. John Dingell Hills 1230 report. John Dingell at GW Hospital after fall. Annual Dingell jingle sets congressional woes to holiday tune. More Mitch, a liberal Democrat, tweeted that congressional Republicans are quite clearly complicit in this White House's efforts to undermine and obstruct justice. He added, lock every single one of these bastards up. Both sides will have more material to get their teeth into soon, it appears. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Gerald Nunes, Schumer Nunes' intent on undermining rule of law with altered memo. Schiff Nunes gave Trump secretly altered version of memo. Former GOP Rep rips Nunes over memo. He's chair of Trump's re-election campaign. More Arkaloff, whose staff wrote the memo that was released Friday, suggested more revelations could be forthcoming. In an interview with Brett Baier on Fox News early Friday evening, Nunes suggested that alleged malfeasance on the part of the State Department would be the focus of further investigation. A Democratic counter-memo could also be released in the coming days. The top Democrat on Nunes' committee, Rep. Adam Schiff Bennett Schiff Schumer Nunes' intent on undermining rule of law with altered memo. Schiff Nunes gave Trump secretly altered version of memo. Several lawmakers have seen intelligence behind Nunes' memo. More Arkaloff has blasted the original release. Schiff called the decision to release the Nunes memo shameful in a Friday statement in which he also pushed back against several specific accusations. Schiff took issue, for example, with Republicans' emphasis on a dossier produced by former British spy Christopher Steele, whose research was being paid for in part by the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton. Diane Rodham Clinton Davis, deep state, existed in 2016 but it elected Trump. Former Trump legal spokesman to testify to Mueller about undisclosed call report. WSJ agents' texts reveal McCabe knew of Clinton emails for at least a month. Moore's presidential campaign. The Russia investigation did not begin with, or arise from Christopher Steele or the dossier, and the investigation would persist on the basis of wholly independent evidence had Christopher Steele never entered the picture, Schiff asserted. As the debate consumes Washington, there are sometimes unusual points of agreement. The idea of Trump moving directly against Mueller or Rosenstein, for example, is something both his detractors and many of his allies seem to think is a bad idea. Pro-Trump voices argue that the president can let others make his case. If I was advising him, I would say, I think it's best to let other people carry this water. This case is so strong and so clear that you don't need to be involved, said Barry Bennett, who worked as a senior advisor to Trump's presidential campaign. Other observers take a diametrically opposite view of the memo, but they too fear overreach by the president. It is a definite possibility that he will try to move against Rosenstein, said Harry Litman, who served as a deputy assistant attorney general during the Clinton administration. Will he need more? You would think. But this is another example of his stunning brazenness. He does actually have the right to fire Rosenstein. He could do it on this threadbare effort. The memo is a reported column by Niall Stanage, primarily focused on Donald Trump's presidency.